I'm old, so that was my movie back in the day. Everything goes wrong. Final Destination. This is it. So this is the Gardner Pingree House. And this is a Federalist style architecture, very popular after the Revolutionary War. A lot of front-facing windows to showcase your wealth. You know, and a wealthy man did live here. His name was Captain Joseph White, and he was murdered here in his own home. His bedroom was on the second floor, which is this floor right here. And one night he was sleeping in his bedroom, just nice and sound and sleep in his rich bed, and then somebody broke in. They broke into that bedroom. They raised the murder weapon, which was a club. It's a lead pipe going through, making it heavy, easy to swing. With one big swing with the club, the captain was dead. His skull was caved in, you know, and for some reason the killer took out a dagger and just started stabbing that dead body in the chest 13 times after the captain was already dead. We knew he was already dead because the mortician said the stab wounds had no blood coming out of them. So he was already dead when he got stabbed. But a lot of things are still of very high value in this mansion. Nothing gets stolen. It's a pure murder. So Salem gets scared. They think there's a maniac on the loose, you know. It becomes national news, international news. This guy had a lot of enemies. Because after we did abolition and stuff, he was still trying to trade the natives as slaves, you know. So he had a lot of enemies. He could have been anybody. He was a real big whodunit. At some point, we get desperate. We reach out to a famous prosecutor, Daniel Webster. We pay him a lot of money to come here to interview half the town. He figures it out fairly quickly. It was the Knapp brothers who planned out the murder, and the Crowninshield brothers who did it. It was Richard Crowninshield who did the murdering. His brother was outside of the lookout. He went in there. He took out the murder weapon. He killed the captain, and it was given a lockpick. Because his payment was going to be some gold, but also the golden doubloons inside the treasure chest in the captain's bedroom. He was a real captain. He found real pirates, and he found real treasure chests with the real gold inside. He bragged about it all the time. He was already wealthy, so he didn't do anything with it. But Richard was going to steal the gold. He puts a lockpick in, and it breaks in the lock. Realizing he just killed the wealthiest man in town, and now he's not getting paid for it, he panics. In his anger, he takes out his dirk, which is like a little dagger, and he starts stabbing that dead body 13 times in the chest out of frustration. Then he grabs his younger brother. They run out to a tavern to get sloshed drunk to drink away their worries. Then they start talking about how they just killed the guy. Well, you know what they say, right? Loose lips sink ships. And Webster found a lot of people in that tavern that overheard everything, including somebody who was actively trying to blackmail them. Now, the most consistent spot for ghost pictures has been of this bedroom window right here, or this window over here, of an old man's face peering out that window. And I've been in here before COVID. You used to be able to go in there, and there's nothing behind this window that would make that face. When we're done today, I'll show you some of those pictures if you're interested. When we're all done, okay? So we'll have to go home and get out of here. But I got one last story for you. Across the street is the Hawthorne Hotel. Over the years, it has become the third most haunted hotel in the nation on TripAdvisor. Is anybody staying there tonight? Yeah. Nice. The third and sixth floors are especially haunted because every year the same thing, the exact same things get reported over and over again. The same things happening on those floors, and there's a particular room on each one of those floors that is extremely haunted. Have you heard of those floors, those rooms or anything? You can Google it later. I bet you're in that room. Probably in that room. You're on the sixth floor. Okay, so yeah, that's one of the haunted floors. Now, a lot of terrible things have happened. It was once called the Franklin, but after each fire, after each tragedies, they rebuilt it, called it a new name. Now it's called the Hawthorne. You know, and at some point there was a wedding going on there. There's still weddings that go on there all the time. And you know, Rue was outside to get into a car accident. He died just outside the building. The bride-to-be was so distraught, she threw herself off the top of the building, and she haunts the building every single night. And on these floors, people have very vivid nightmares sometimes of a lady in a wedding dress. They can't see her face. But as they wake up, they feel like a hand is running across their own face as they're waking up, and all the things in their room have been moved around. Yeah, so that's just one example of a creepy thing that's reported over and over again on these floors. At some point, you know, something else happened over there. Every year, something happens there, an event. It has to do with a certain man that came through here once called Harry Houdini. He was a spiritualist, an anti-spiritualist. He was a king of handcuffs. He came through Salem once in the 1800s. He did a really cool trick. He said, "Sheriff, lock me up in your cell in your office, put handcuffs on me, and I promise I can escape. I'll even be naked. Just to prove I have nothing on me, I can just use magic to get out." I'm the king of handcuffs. The sheriff said, "All right." He locks up in the cell in the back of his office, and he's handcuffed and everything. Everybody's waiting outside the office, and then 13 minutes later, Houdini walks out. He did it. You know, but on his way out, he unlocked all the cells. A prisoner realized he was free, so he tried making a run for it. The sheriff caught him and dragged him back to his cell. But the news wanted to interview him. He agrees. And during that interview, he told the news he sat through the entire time watching Houdini like a hawk. And he was ready to expose Houdini's magic, his main trick, the handcuff thing. He said he saw Houdini reach into his mouth and pull out a fake tooth. And attached to that fake tooth was a lockpick mechanism, which is how he did his escape routines. Now, this being the news is really bad for Houdini because that was his main trick. So the next time he went to, he invented more tricks than usual, and one of those tricks did him in. It's a trick when you find the biggest guy in the audience. He said, come on, punch me in the gut as hard as you can. I have a force field. He probably had padding or armor under his vest in the front area because when he was struck here, he took no damage. At some point, he did take enough damage over time that he got appendicitis, and it started causing all this like inflammation in his gut and everything. He's got appendicitis going on. It starts to heal. He's getting a lot better. He says the show must go on. There's one more show. Somebody thought it was real. He had a real force field. When it was done, they snuck up behind him and sucker punched him in the rib cage. Not where his armor was in the front or anything. So the appendicitis comes back in full force. A week later, he's in the hospital fighting for his life. His brother's in the room. His wife's in the room. He grabs his wife. He says, don't worry. This is the age of spiritualism. People are holding seances all the time. In fact, I think there's holding a seance back in the place. I think I heard something going on back there. He says, it's Halloween. I'm going to die. So if you're Halloween, please hold a seance for me. I'm going to give you secret code words you can pass on the family. So when these seances are held, whoever the psychic is holding the seance, if they get these code words correct, without any help at all, my spirit will be amongst you. That'll be your evidence right there. Now, once officially, and every single year since then unofficially, these seances for Harry Houdini have been held at the haunted Hawthorne Hotel. And it is believed that during one of these times, they might have gotten these code words correct. I am Duo. This has been the Salem Night Tour.